When you play a game, you're generally in it to do something big and important, like saving the world, or saving the galaxy, or making the big tree go on fire. Was that not the point of Elden Ring? But while you're taking care of the big picture stuff, you can't be worrying about the one random NPC who experiences unintended knock-on effects. And if a few innocent people happen to have their lives forever ruined while you go about your business, well, that's just the price of doing business. Hero business! I guess spare a thought for these 7 innocent NPCs whose lives you ruined with your high-stakes heroing. With thanks to the commenters on our last video for the inspiration, and story spoilers, minor story spoilers, ahead for the following games.
A new customer! Would you like to buy a cabbage? Ah, it's the Avatar!
Hi. Yeah, I'm the Avatar. Don't be afraid.
If you're the Avatar with total mystical mastery over earth, fire, air and water, how much do you think you care about cabbages? Not much, right? Probably even less than the average person who barely cares at all about nature's least delicious vegetable. Maybe this is why Aang, the last airbender himself, titular avatar of the anime show and several spin-off games, is regularly observed demolishing the cart of one perpetually suffering recurring character, the Cabbage merchant. Guess what he sells?
My cabbages! Guards, off with their heads! One for each cabbage!
With Aang, who is the human embodiment of light and peace, focusing on his duty to restore balance to the Four Nations, he can presumably be forgiven for getting distracted and accidentally smashing up a cart full of leafy greens. And sometimes not so accidentally?
My cabbages!
But why is it always this one guy in a variety of locations who just wanted to make a humble living selling cabbages to people who's constantly having his wares destroyed and his livelihood ruined? I don't know, maybe he's the human embodiment of getting his cart smashed up. As commenter non-melodic 1114 notes, doesn't matter where he sets up his shop, a fight is always going to destroy his cabbage cart. In any case, it hasn't escaped the cabbage merchant's attention that he's being persecuted, accidentally or otherwise, by the mighty Avatar.
I'm one of the good guys.
Perhaps to some, but you are the bane of my cabbages. Something terrible happens every time you're near.
Good guys. Tell it to the cabbages, bro.
If you live in the land of Hyrule and your name is Link, but you're not that Link, I guess life could be kind of annoying. Every party you go to, they're all like, "Oh my god, your name is Link, that's so funny. You don't look like Link. Were your parents big Link fans?" Thanks, Mum. Thanks, Dad. In Majora's Mask, though, there is someone named Link for whom this celebrity name is not just annoying, but actually life-ruining. Also, he's not actually in Hyrule because Majora's Mask takes place in an alternate version of Hyrule called Termina, where the world is going to be destroyed in 3 days' time. But you get it. In the words of commenter Blood Clan L, what about Link, the unfortunately named Goron in Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask? So yeah, this Link, who is a Goron traveller, is due to stay at the Stockpot Inn, the only inn in all of Clocktown. However, if you turn up at the Stockpot Inn before Link the Goron and tell the receptionist that your name is Link, she'll go ahead and give you Link the Goron's prepaid reservation. No credit card or ID required. In the Majora's Mask remaster, you do at least have to be disguised as a Goron, but in the original, you don't even have to do that. That's how chill the check-in is at this hotel. Slightly less chill is the room you're given, which is terrifyingly named the Knife Chamber. But not to worry, it's just a regular bedroom and not at all a ritual murder basement. Just a bit dingy. Ugh. And no fitness centre. Let me tell you, the breakfast buffet better be on point. Back to Link the Goron, who turns up to discover the reservation he made in advance has been given away, and that was the last room in the entire inn. With nowhere else to stay, Link, the good-natured Goron, accepts his fate and decides to sleep outside. At least the weather is nice and the apocalypse isn't coming, right? Wrong! Both times. When you next catch up with Goron Link, he's sleeping on the actual street, on the ground, in the rain, where he'll spend the whole miserable night before getting annihilated when the moon crushes everyone the day after tomorrow. I mean, unless identity theft Link saves the world, but he did just steal someone's hotel room. Who knows what he'll do next?
To maintain relationships. By the way, I don't know who you are, but unless you want me to blow your cover, I'd advise that you avoid me for the rest of the party.
As a hero, sometimes you end up at a fancy embassy reception where you have to do some smooth talking and slip away from the party like a James Bond. And sometimes as a hero, you get a drink server thrown into the dungeon to provide an equally workable distraction. In the Skyrim quest, Diplomatic Immunity, you're at a party hosted by Elenwen, the Thalmor ambassador to Skyrim.
The only thing I enjoy more than luxury is sharing that luxury with those who can appreciate it.
To proceed with your mission, you're going to need to create some cover so you can evade your hostess and the guests and get on with a bit of Dragonborn espionage behind the scenes. Among your many options is getting involved with Nord warrior jerkass Erica, who's leching after a Wood Elf server.
You there, servant girl. What's your name, dear?
Ah, Brayless, sir. Do you need a drink? Something to eat?
No, that's not what I'm interested in right now. I just wanted to get a better look at you. I like what I see, my dear.
Dude. Following your impeccable Dragonborn instincts, you can pile headfirst into this problematic social situation and offer to be Erica's wingman.
Did you see that serving girl? I hear elf women are insatiable.
This is probably fine.
Go on, see what she says. Now you've gone and gotten my hopes up again.
Surprise, surprise, if you go and have a chat with Brayless, what she says is, no thank you very much.
Please tell him to leave me alone, politely.
At this point, returning to Erica and passing on the message that Brayless would prefer to get on with her job serving drinks unhassled, so devastates his ego that he flies into a big old rage.
Now you're going to be sorry you crossed me. Elenwen, this servant girl has been throwing herself at me in a most disgusting manner.
Is that so, Erica? And you with such delicate sensibilities. It must have been most upsetting.
Now, instead of stepping in and setting the story straight, you should be exploiting this party drama to sneak away and do whatever it is that makes it totally worthwhile how Brayless is dragged off to the embassy dungeon.
Sir, you must tell her. You don't know what they'll do to me. Please.
Thusly, you've ruined the evening, career, and life of this Wood Elf server, as noted by commenter CyberCybex, who writes, even if the Dragonborn saves her, she'll still probably be chased by the Thalmor for the rest of her life or killed by a troll. Because yes, even if you don't leave Brayless to rot in the torture basement of the Thalmor embassy, even if you do optionally spring her from imprisonment while you go about your actual quest, and even if she's not killed escaping with you, there's every chance the deeply unchill Thalmor will hunt her down following the jailbreak. Or yeah, she might be killed by a troll, although that is true of literally everybody in Skyrim, where your chance of being murdered by a frost troll is never zero. That guy again.
In these spacious tanks, which could easily be able to contain a couple of hundred human bodies, the sugars in the wine are converted to alcohol. This is also where we squeeze the must into a fine juice using our grape presser.
Fascinating.
Naive gamers believe the acronym NPC stands for non-player character, when in fact it stands for not a person I care about. No one embodies this truth better than Hitman's Agent 47, who might socially and physically stealth his way through a mission, assassinate his target, and leave completely unnoticed, or, just as easily, smush a bunch of non-target NPCs in a wine press. His face in those two scenarios, exactly the same. 47 doesn't care. In particular, I'm thinking about the NPCs who exist in a third scenario where Agent 47 is killing some NPCs and sparing the lives of others, according to his inscrutable whims. In the words of commenter Sbnal, what about all those people in Hitman who woke up naked in a cupboard with a corpse and had to explain themselves to the police? Right, so yeah, spare a thought for the unlucky NPC who Agent 47 knocks unconscious, strips down to their undergarments, then bundles into a closet alongside a corpse. Sure, the corpse in the closet is dead, but at some point in the near future, the alive person in the closet has to wake up face to face with the rapidly cooling dead body of someone they probably knew and liked and hung out with at the office Christmas party. On top of that life-altering trauma, they'll have to explain to the extremely suspicious authorities what they were doing mostly naked in a cupboard with the corpse of their friend, which no one will believe wasn't somehow their work, because elsewhere in the level, Agent 47 has already eliminated his actual target in an elaborately staged accident. And disappeared without trace. So how's this guy going to explain himself and this whole situation? Non-player character, more like now prison. For crime.
Okay then. Mr. LaCroix, he told me to expect someone fitting your description sometime tonight. You go right on up.
In cult classic RPG Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, pretty much everyone is sexy. The owner of the Asylum nightclub? Sexy. The leader of the Anarch resistance movement? Sexy. Even the horrifying flesh-eating monster who lives in the basement of a condemned building and terrifies anyone who encounters them? Kinda sexy.
Real terror is not the sight of death. It is the fear of death.
I think it's the glowing eyes. But what if you're one of the rare non-sexy individuals trying to make your way in the World of Darkness's gothic take on Los Angeles? Someone who is unlikely to be sexily turned into a sexy vampire by another sexy vampire. Well, you have to go out and get a normal job. That's exactly what the character affectionately known as Chunk has done, picking up a gig as the night watchman at a local gallery in Santa Monica.
It's a uniform, you know. Women just can't get over the uniform.
Hey, I take it back about him not being sexy. Who could resist? Sweet talk Chunk with your aforementioned powers of sexterity, and he will personally let you inside the gallery, which is where your objective lies. Unfortunately for him, that objective is to vandalise the paintings, and after a scuffle with a Blood Guardian, you will also end up wrecking the place. We don't see it happen, but that is absolutely a sackable offence, and poor Chunk is back on the Los Angeles job market. Still, Chunk is a persevering sort, so a bit later in the game he gets another job, this time doing night security at Venture Tower. Except, as commenter Jack O'Hart points out, this tower is the headquarters of vampire antagonist Sebastian LaCroix. Gets fired from his security job because of player actions, gets hired for another job by LaCroix, then ends up likely getting drained by the player by the end of the game, if not sooner. Poor guy just wants to do his job, then vampires happen to him. Yep, Chunk is stationed at a desk slap bang in the middle of Vampire Central. And when the game reaches its denouement and you head back to the tower to fight LaCroix, Chunk ends up the only thing standing between you and your goal. And such is his dedication to his security job, he's going to try and stop you getting past. And it's going to go as well for him as you might expect. All of which is particularly distressing if you've been playing as a female character and spent the last few hours role-playing a sort of flirty vampire situationship with him.
You know, I got a break in an hour and a fresh box of Krusty Kremes in the back. How about on your way out?
What can I say? I'm into it now. Can't spell chunk without hunk.
It's only a matter of time before they're wiped out.
And if there are other leaders out there?
No. They're all dead. All dead. Except me.
Prototype's shape-shifting protagonist Alex Mercer can be a hero, sort of, depending on how you play him. Maintaining your heroic credentials is tough though in the face of Alex Mercer's grisly skill set, which includes the ability to consume another person's entire biomass. Consuming that person also unlocks their likeness as an organic full-body disguise, which is handy for eluding your enemies when your jeans, jacket and hoodie combo is no longer sufficiently anonymous because of your monster arms. Given these conditions, woe betide the random innocent civilian bystander hanging out in the splash zone of Alex Mercer's heroism. They're just trying to get home to their family without being infected or killed by the military when they are targeted and consumed by Alex Mercer, because he needs their random innocent civilian bystander looks to bamboozle the authorities. In the words of commenter Skynet, a bunch of numbers, you also get the satisfaction of knowing that you leave no trace of the person you just murdered, meaning that there is little to no chance for the family to ever find out why Daddy never came home from work. Which, I can't argue with you there, Skynet 091287. You've not only absorbed the biomass of said bystander and apparently their outfit, you've also ruined the lives of their loved ones, who will be left forever wondering what happened. Unless these loved ones catch sight of Alex Mercer doing a tentacly transformation on the streets of Manhattan, which is worse, potentially. Who's to say what is and isn't a hero in this crazy, mixed up world? Except, not that.
That was incredible.
Thank Aphrodite.
Thank all the gods. Here, as promised, I'll never forget you.
No, you won't. I should get this back to Supidio's parents before he does anything stupidio.
It can be tricky if you find yourself in the middle of a Greek myth because they're usually there to tell some kind of cautionary tale. Like how if you steal fire from the gods, you're going to get your liver pecked out by birds forever, or if you make wings for yourself, try to make them out of something more robust than wax, you idiot. More like Thicarus. Take our next unfortunate NPC, Supidio from Assassin's Creed Odyssey, as noted by commenter Florida123452, who says, "What about the prisoner in AC Odyssey, where he's told by an oracle that his mother will die and his father will scream in agony, so he wants you to get him his sword and shield to protect his parents?" Unfortunately for Supidio, he doesn't know that he's in the Greek myth, and as such, when an oracle delivers him a prophecy stating that his mother's blood will stain the earth and his father will scream to the heavens in agony, he decides to try and do something about it. Which, that's your first mistake, Supidio, buddy. Supidio has locked himself in a cage because he's managed to convince himself that he will be the cause of his mother's blood situation and his father's screaming issue, and begs you to go and retrieve his sword and shield so that his folks can defend themselves from his, quote, wrath.
You mustn't free me. These ropes are the only thing between my parents and my wrath.
Being the helpful type and presumably wanting to improve Supidio's life, you set out to do both these things. The sword is currently in possession of a blacksmith who is skilled, but also extremely horny and suffering from erectile dysfunction.
There's just one tiny problem. You see, my spear is also broken, if you catch my meaning.
Shame.
But there are special flowers in the forest beyond Xerxes' military fort. Planted by Aphrodite herself. They really help to, reforge, if you know what I mean.
That's the other thing about Greek myths. Surprisingly bawdy. Anyway, in exchange for the sword, he wants you to go fetch him some special aphrodisiac flowers, and if you so choose, you can even give him the opportunity to test them out.
Enough talking. Eat your plants.
The shield, meanwhile, has been stolen by a bandit leader who makes camp with her gang out by the Red Lake. So you head over there to wipe them all out and get the shield back.
This shield should be enough to protect Supidio's parents from his deadly wrath.
Great, you may be thinking. Problem solved. Supidio's got his sword and shield back, his parents can defend themselves, no way this will turn out to be life-ruining. And here's where the final part of the Greek myth comes into play, dramatic irony. Because it seems that Supidio's parents haven't exactly been honest with him. Turns out he's adopted, and his actual parents are the blacksmith and the bandit leader, leading to this shocking, life-ruining revelation.
Wait, so the thief and the blacksmith
are Supidio's birth parents. You killed his mater and his pater.
But the prophecy said Pater would scream to the gods in agony.
Oh, he screamed, but not in agony.
Yikes. Honestly, you'd think if your name was Oedipus spelled backwards, you'd be more careful about this sort of thing.
I'm blind, Miss Dios. Are you happy?
Thanks for watching, everybody. This has been 7 NPCs whose lives you ruined like a hero. Commenter edition with thanks again to the commenters on our last video for all the great inspiration. We salute you. And we also invite you to enjoy another video by outsidexbox up here. It's another list. Or one from Outside Extra over here. That's Ellen. She's the best. You can support us by going to patreon.com/oxclub and join the official Discord. And I'll see you on there, or I'll see you back here next week for another video.
We won't ruin your life.